Welcome back to another episode of our Align and Shine program. I am Safrianna Luna, and this is,
Meryl Hayton.
and we are delighted to offer this workshop for you. This time where you can drop into some moments of stillness, get into your nervous system, really calm down. And we anchor these episodes around a particular topic. And today we're going to be talking about frustration that comes from overgiving or overdoing it in the world. So, like I said, I'm Safrianna Luna, the Queer Spirit Guide, and I help people come into alignment with their blueprint. And Meryl, if you would like to give a little introduction in a sentence, to what you do.
I am a certified EFT professional, and I help people transform their emotions, right? For fear, doubt, worry, frustration, we talk about today, stress, anxiety, to hope, faith, confidence, self-trust, self-love.
And you're
What I do.
incredible at it, for the record. I'm a big fan of Meryl's, which is why I asked her to do this ongoing series with me. So, we're going to start the basic way that we go. Go ahead.
And I wouldn't do it with the, like, Sapriano is very special to me. So I wouldn't do this with anybody.
Why, thank you. Yes, and we really want these calls to be a place where you can, like I said, drop into some self-awareness, calm your nervous system down, and so every episode you can expect the same structure. We're gonna do some energy clearing. We are going to do some EFT tapping where you can insert your own words as needed as I tap with Meryl, and then we'll pull some cards, which I'll have to go dart and grab a deck when it calls to me. It hasn't called to me yet, but we'll see where this goes. So we'll just start with this energy clearing, just dropping here into this present moment of what is alive for you here and now. And eyes can be opened or closed for this. I'm going to just do some smoke cleansing on my side. I like to clear on behalf of the collective. Anything that we are ready to shed, to release, to let go of. And as we talked about today, we're going to be getting into the frustration that comes when we're overgiving, overdoing, overworking, just showing up and committing to way too much. So even as I say those words, you might begin to recognize areas of your own life where perhaps you are overdoing it. Maybe you are pouring too much energy into something. Maybe you're draining yourself because you're constantly making yourself on to show up for society's metrics of productivity. So, as you notice whatever's here, just beginning to allow the exhale to release anything that you're ready to let go of here in this present moment. Anything that you don't feel like you need to hold on to any longer, just allowing a soft exhale to blow that residual energy out, to allow some ease to come into your body. When we are in a pattern of overgiving, it's like we don't have anything left for ourselves. So even as you are exhaling and releasing, I'd love for you to practice inhaling and filling yourself up. So the inhale brings energy back to you, and the exhale lets go of anything you no longer need. So with each inhale, you become more full, whole, complete in your sacred energy. And notice the relationship between inhale and exhale here. The inhale brings energy in, the exhale lets go, but you don't have to let go of what is yours. You get to hold on to and keep what is yours. Just see if you can land in some depth here, some safety within the body as we move into stirring up these things again and clearing them, shifting them using some EFT. So just take a second to come back to the room if you've closed your eyes, maybe wiggling the fingers and toes a little bit. And just take a moment to look around your space, orient your nervous system, remind yourself that you are not being chased by tigers. So just in your own time here. I needed that.
Me too.
So, Meryl, please guide me on this overdoing because I shared with Meryl my own reasons for wanting to do an episode on this topic. And I've really been recognizing that I have a lifelong pattern of overdoing, overcommitting, really taking care of other people, whether that be other people's communities or their projects or their family life or cleaning, whatever it may be, just like really giving of myself to the point of depletion. And I know that I am not alone in this, that
No, you're
many people experience this.
me.
Yeah.
I've experienced.
Yeah. Anyone with parents that are older, anyone with kids, anyone with a spouse, anyone with pets, anyone with a job, right? Like all of these societal roles have the expectation attached to them of like, you sacrifice yourself for it. And that's not how it needs to be. We can be in really nourishing relationships with other people, even with work, with our
Mhm.
families. So I hope we can invite some more of that in today with this tapping. So by all means, please lead me and everyone in this journey of coming back to ourselves.
All right. So we were going to do some EFT tapping and probably optimal EFT. So the one is a physical tapping form and one is a guided meditative form. So you'll just follow along what we do and repeat what I say, and you can switch up the words, make them your own, right? It's not going to hurt you to say what I say, but to be more specific on your feelings and your words will help to shift things much faster for you. So, I always say, like, when we're doing this, I'm using my intuition and keeping it general, but Safrianna is going to help us to, right, focus it in on how she's feeling and how this pertains to her life. And, but if you have any questions about it, just reach out to us. All right, so we're going to start tapping on the side of our hand, right? It's the karate chop point on the side of the hand. And we're going to create a setup statement, an acceptance phrase, or a balancing phrase. So to start, what would you say is the word frustration for you today?
In this moment, when I think about overgiving and just overcommitting in general, it's exhaustion.
Mhm.
So underneath the exhaustion comes the frustration. Like, why am I doing this? And why is this like why am I leaving myself so exhausted? So yeah, I frustration's still in under there for sure.
Right. Okay, so I'm exhausted at what number? Right. And this is just related to I'm overgiving, right?
Yeah, I'd put that right here in this moment at a 6.5 to a 7. So we'll go with 7.
And I'm frustrated at what number?
I'd put the frustration at a 5.
All right. That's what I was feeling. Okay. I think they're gonna flip. Let's see. All
Get
right.
curious.
Even though I have this exhausted frustration feeling
Even though I have this exhausted frustration feeling
because I've been overdoing and overgiving,
because I've been overdoing and overgiving,
I'm choosing to honor how I feel.
I'm choosing to honor how I feel.
And even though I've been overdoing and overgiving,
And even though I've been overdoing and overgiving,
and it's leaving me feeling exhausted and frustrated,
and it's leaving me feeling exhausted and frustrated,
I deeply and completely
I deeply and completely
love accept, and forgive myself.
love, accept, and forgive myself.
And even though I'm feeling exhausted and frustrated
Even though I'm feeling exhausted and frustrated
right here in this moment,
right here in this moment,
I'm not overgiving.
I am not overgiving.
I'm not overdoing.
I'm not overdoing.
I'm actually receiving.
I'm actually receiving.
And that feels good.
And that feels good.
And I'm open to the possibility
And I'm open to the possibility
of letting go of this frustration
of letting go of this frustration
and increasing my energy.
and increasing my energy. Yeah, that'd be great.
All right, top of the head. This exhausted frustration
This exhausted frustration,
in between the eyebrows. All this exhausted frustration
all this exhausted frustration,
outside the corners of the eyes. This exhausted frustration
this exhausted frustration,
underneath the eyes. All this exhausted frustration
all this exhausted frustration,
under the nose. All this frustration.
all this frustration.
It's exhausting.
It's exhausting.
On the chin. I'm exhausted
I'm exhausted
and frustrated.
and frustrated.
Under the collarbone. Exhausted and frustrated.
Exhausted and frustrated.
Deep breath in here. Out your mouth. Right. And then under the arm. Right. Under the armpit next to the chest. It can be both sides or this way. Yep. This exhausted frustration.
This exhausted frustration.
Okay. Pause for a moment. Close your eyes if that's comfortable for the people watching. Right. If your numbers are super, super high, keep your eyes open and keep looking at me. Because that will help to make you feel calmer and safer. Deep breath in again, cleansing breath, always in through the nose and really blowing it out your mouth will help to shift this energy. And when you're ready, Safrianna, you'll tell me where your numbers are at now. And if the words have shifted or if they're still the same words.
Yeah,
What you notice?
it's really interesting. Like you were right. The focus is shifting to the frustration because like the exhaustion is a result of the overgiving, and I'm frustrated that I'm overgiving. So it's focusing in on the
Yep.
underlying frustration here. And so as I was tapping there, I started to notice that frustration number going up and almost going to anger.
Yep.
It was going up to an anger of like, well, society has put these expectations on me from the time I was a
Mhm.
little girl. So I was really getting that story of why I overgive. And so I was able to liberate a little bit of that like boundary to anger. Like that's not how it should be. And so that really like the exhaustion's still very much there, but it's like what feels alive is definitely this like boundaried, frustrated anger.
Okay. So tell me your numbers now.
I'd put that
Yes. And whoever's watching, drink some
yeah,
water.
just keep drinking water. I would put the frustration slash anger up at a 6 now, and the exhaustion came down to like a 5.5.
Yeah.
It's like a flip flop.
Yep. That's what I thought. Okay.
You know me.
uh,
You know your audience.
yeah. Well, it's I also know the work too. I just can feel it.
Mhm.
All right. So, and I wonder what's changed in your body physically because I'd like to tie in. I'm feeling like tighter somewhere or calmer somewhere or tense or less tense.
Yeah, it's interesting. My low body feels looser, but there's a lot of like energy moving through my chest center. And when I think of anger, one of my favorite little random facts is that there's a study where we heat mapped the body, different
Mhm.
people's bodies when they had emotions, and anger is through the chest and down the arms, and it's like a fire. It comes out as a hot code, whereas depression shows blue in the heat maps. So it's like
Yeah,
I
yeah.
feel that heat through my hands right now and up through
Mhm.
my arms.
Okay.
So in my chest, my heart center, my arms,
So
heat.
that's ran heat.
Yeah, it's this red heat. It's like swirling. It's
Okay.
electrifying.
Yeah. The swirling red heat. It's electrifying. It almost sounds sexy to me.
Well, in anger, there's a lot of liberation in anger. I just feel the need to give voice to that because anger is like my boundaries have been violated, right? Like I've
Yeah.
been forced
Yeah.
or pushed or whatever. And that's what's coming up for me right now is how much I've been pushed to
Yeah.
overgive. So there's that. I want to move that.
Yeah. We are. Let's go. All right. So we're going to create a new setup because we're going to let the exhaustion part go for now and the frustration go for now. And we're going to focus on anger, right? And you said it was what number?
Be a 6.
A six? Okay. Or is it, I'm sorry, is the anger and the frustration the same?
Yeah, it's like
Okay.
frustration just reached a threshold at which it turned to anger.
Okay. All right. So we're just going to switch this up a little bit. So even though I'm feeling this frustrated anger,
Even though I'm feeling this frustrated anger,
I'm choosing to honor how I feel.
I'm choosing to honor how I feel.
And even though I'm feeling this frustrated anger,
And even though I'm feeling this frustrated anger,
and it's like a swirl of fiery red energy,
and it's
electricity in my chest.
yeah, and it's like a swirling red hot energy electrifying through my chest.
Yeah. So whoever is watching, fill in your own words physically. And I'm choosing to acknowledge I feel this way.
And I'm choosing to acknowledge I feel this way.
And even though I'm feeling this fiery red, angry electricity in
And
my chest,
even though I'm feeling this fiery red electricity in my chest,
and it's connected to me feeling angry and frustrated,
and it's connected to me feeling angry and frustrated,
I deeply and completely
I deeply and completely
love, accept, and honor myself.
love, accept, and honor myself.
Yep. Top of the head. This frustrated anger in my chest,
This frustrated anger in my chest,
in between the eyebrows. This fiery, frustrated anger in my chest,
this fiery, frustrated anger in my chest,
outside the eyes. Fiery, frustrated anger.
fiery, frustrated anger,
Underneath the eyes. This swirling, fiery anger.
this swirling, fiery anger.
It's in my chest.
It's in my chest.
Under the nose. This swirling, fiery anger.
This swirling, fiery anger.
On the chin. This red, swirling, fiery anger.
This red, swirling, fiery anger.
And under the collarbone. This frustrated anger in my chest.
This frustrated anger in my chest.
Deep breath in. And out. Yeah. Again, this frustrated, fiery anger in my chest.
This frustrated, fiery anger in my chest.
And under the arm. This frustrated, fiery anger.
This frustrated, fiery anger.
Yeah. I'm just going to do another round, top of the head. Right now, nothing bad is happening.
Right now, nothing bad is happening.
In between the eyebrows. I am safe here.
I am safe here.
Outside the eyes. I'm not overdoing right now.
I'm not overdoing right now.
Underneath the eyes. I'm not overgiving right now.
I'm not overgiving right now.
Under the nose. I'm receiving self-care.
I
Something
am
like that.
I'm receiving self-care right now.
On the chin. There's nothing I need to do right now.
There's nothing I need to do right now
Except be here with myself.
except be here with myself
Under the collarbone. And honor these feelings.
and honor these feelings.
And it's okay to do that.
And it is okay to do that.
Under the arm. Because nothing bad is happening.
Nothing bad is happening.
Okay, let's pause. Deep breath in and out. right? And then when you're ready, you'll check in. Yep, taking a nice sip of water. We're moving a lot of energy. So,
Yeah, we are. Whew. Yeah, that was like someone came along and laid a blanket on my shoulders. Like everything just
oh,
dampened down. I would still
mm,
put the anger has gone back down to frustration now, and the exhaustion is meeting it again. So they're dancing once again. But I would only put the charge at like a 2 to 3 now. It's much lower
oh,
because there's much more sense of that nervous system calm. Like, you're right. I don't have to do anything right now. I just get to be here. And so there was that resourcing that came in of I can pull that truth in any moment. There
mhm,
is nothing I'm actually really truly required to do other than take care of me. That's my job. That's my role. That's what I believe all of our jobs is to take care
yeah,
of ourselves. So it was like that realization coming back in and everything coming back down. So the sensation in my body is much more mellow right now. Like I still feel a movement of energy, but it's like this instead of the like it felt like a pulsing before, and now it's just like this gentle current. But there's still some frustration and exhaustion in there, for sure.
okay. Uh, so, what I'm going to suggest is that we go in with the unseen therapist. I'm thinking 2 times. One time is going to be what situation from my past is like this that needs some attention and energy clearing, right? Emotional clearing. And we don't have to discuss at all what it is, right? It's just, I'm just going to guide you to imagine it in your mind. So for whoever's watching, you can do the same thing, right? And and then we'll go in again and do some clearing on it. So the first one is really just what in my past is like this situation, is like this feeling, right? So I'm going to guide you through that first and then we'll go in again. So,
Sounds good.
yeah, so close your eyes and just take a deep breath, just settle into your seat. So this is the optimal EFT part where it's like a guided meditation. And I'll invite you to recall a loving moment, a happy, joyous, loving moment that you have in your life with a significant other, your kids, a pet, being by yourself at your favorite happy place. It doesn't matter. Something that just warms your insides and, helps you to feel just unconditional love and joy, kindness, compassion. This is helping you to connect to your highest self. And it's also helping you to connect to a higher power. In this practice, we call her the unseen, any higher power, spirit guide that you'd like. And we're asking for resolution on this exhausted, angry frustration about overgiving, people pleasing, overdoing, and put in your words, right? You might not have exactly these words, but make it your own. And I'd like you to imagine you're in a movie theater, right? And there's this huge blank movie screen. And on the movie screen, you just see the words, what situation from my past needs some attention that will help to clear this pattern I have of overgiving and overdoing so that I can have better behaviors that fuel me instead of exhaust me. So this isn't your mind trying to logically go back in the library card catalog and do all this research to try to figure it out. It's really focusing on your loving moment and letting the download, right? Letting the a channeled message come through. That's really what we're trying to do here. So I'm going to also close my eyes, focus on my own loving moment for the collective, and let's see what happens. All right. And I'm going to time it for 2 minutes. All right. So all you're doing is focusing on an image. Right. You asked the question, you saw the question on the movie screen, and then you let that go. Open up your mind, your curiosity, your heart, your energy for divine downloads and messages. And just focus on your loving moment. Feel it in your heart, in your body, and let it expand. Loving moments. You're doing great. Just focusing on your loving moment. All right. Slowly, when you're ready, you can open your eyes and some healing is definitely coming in because yawning is healing. Means that there's lots of energy shifting. That exhaustion is coming out. So did something come to mind for you that needs your attention?
Yeah, what came to mind for me was like a very specific chapter in my life. I'll just call it a chapter because it was not one moment, it was like an
Yep.
era. I was working as a teacher full time. I had just started grad school full time. I was in an abusive relationship full time, being being a step parent and living with my toxic family members all at the
Wow.
same time. So I was literally it was this era of juggling everyone else, 150 kids, partner, step kid, family members, all of it
Wow.
in grad school. So it was like chaos mode. And so as that was coming up and I was going back and forth between my loving moment and like little pieces of this were coming in, I saw and Meryl and I talk about this before. Do not use me as an example. I just like to share what inner observation can look like because it's different for everyone. But what was coming through for me during that was this image of this like box installed in my solar plexus. And the unseen therapist came in with a key and unlocked the box so that it
Ooh,
could open again. Like this sort of you got to keep all your energy away for everyone else. Like nope, redissipate it, release it. So that was what came up for me.
love it. All right. So when you think about this era, is that the word you use? This
Chapter,
time,
era,
yeah,
time, yeah.
yeah, this chapter. How many years was that? Or
Like, all of that intersection was, like, a year. The
a year?
living with and the partnership and this, like, everything had different, but the all at once was about a year.
Right. Okay. And when you think about that today, what is your anger and what is your frustration? What are those numbers at?
When I think about it here in this present moment, they're like a 2 to a 3. It
Okay.
because so much has come down and even just sitting with
Yeah.
that, there's been a lot of good feelings of, "Oh, wow, I'm not in that situation anymore, thank
Yes,
goodness."
I know. I'm like over here, like silently clapping for you.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, of course. I wasn't expecting you to have like high numbers for this because I'm not feeling that either. But
yeah.
is there one particular situation that stands out more than other for
If
the
I
first?
As soon as you said that, a very particular image came to mind. I was so overgiving for everyone that I was really struggling with dissociation in myself.
Mhm.
And there's like a day that comes to mind where basically like a conversation happened that was super triggering and then I went to my safe space of my bedroom and then another triggering conversation happened with a partner and I was just like gone, right? It was like a complete detachment from myself. So, and when that comes in, what replaces the frustration and the exhaustion and the anger is sadness. It's like so sad for
Mhm.
the me of the past who was so in this overdoing and overgiving and pouring out and, like, no boundaries for her. There was just no boundaries for
Perfect.
her.
Okay. This is perfect. Right. So let's go in now with the unseen therapist again and let's heal this sadness. Right. How long ago was this? How old were you?
In my mid-20s. It's been about 10 years now. Yeah, about a decade.
All right. Okay. So closing your eyes again, and we are asking for full resolution on yourself, emotionally, mentally, physically, spiritually, and for all the parts of you that were affected, right, during that time, and helping to resolve this sadness, this sad part of yourself who didn't know any better. She didn't know any better, and she was doing her best. And sad that you had to experience it and go through it. So bringing in compassion, kindness, forgiveness, right? And empathy for that part of you, for those parts of you, and asking for resolution so that you're not carrying it forward anymore. Right. So let's come into your loving moment again. And let me know when you have it. Okay. Let that expand. Right. And the unseen therapist knows exactly what to do, or your higher power of choice knows exactly what to do. Right. And I'm going to guide you into the story 10 years ago, where you disassociated from yourself because of all this triggering that was going on, and you were maybe feeling alone in your bedroom and sad for that part of you. Feel into whatever comes up and knowing right here and now, nothing bad is happening and you are safe. You survived. You're here to tell the story. And now come back into your loving moment. The unseen therapist is here with you, holding you, sitting beside you, maybe on your lap, or her energy could be inside you. And she's just holding this version of you from 10 years ago, this disassociated, sad version. And let's go one more time. Step into this specific story when you're in your bedroom, disassociating and so triggered. Knowing that right here and now, it's okay to let these feelings go. It's not happening anymore. You are safe here and supported. You are not alone, right? And that story can never happen again. Now come back into your loving moment. And let's just let this expand for another minute or so. I'll leave it up to you, right? You can sit with your loving moment for as long as you feel you need to feel complete, and just let me know when you're done.
Right. Coming up and out. That was very interesting. I had this very distinct memory come through. So most people know about me at this point that my like dream or goal is to be a prolific author. I've written a novel now and I just sent my first poetry book off to the publisher and I have so many projects in the works. And it was so interesting because I was there in my memory and then I saw dissociated me on one side of the bed, and then I saw when I was present sitting on the other side of the bed, and she was sitting there on her laptop writing a story. And so it was this thread of that resource of like, this is the part you want to bring through. This is what you want to bring with you. So let's take her, the writer, and bring her. And then we gave the sad dissociative part a different story. So I was actually able to go in and create a new timeline for that part of me to take a different path that eventually ends up leading to the same place I am right now. So
Right.
it's very cool.
Right. Love that. Yeah.
Some
So for the
timeline.
people who are talking, it is not uncommon for people to have something like this happen where you rewrite your story and completely be able to let go of all emotions that are connected to something from your past. It is EFT is scientifically proven to heal trauma and PTSD, and you're getting a pretty good taste of it right now.
Yeah, for sure.
So, yeah, for sure. So please just remember to be your own advocate. And if stuff is starting to get too much, just shut the video down, right? Call a friend, call your therapist. If you need something, right? Call someone, call for help because sometimes these things can be triggering.
Yes. Yeah. And we can always keep on tapping, right? We can keep
Absolutely.
going
You can
and
keep
keep
tapping
tapping.
and you can tap basic recipe and just tap and breathe and keep right. Your intensities start to elevate, you can excuse me. If your intensities start to elevate, right, you can just do tapping and breathing if you don't know how to do the words and just do a few rounds to keep things calmer.
Yeah.
So
Brilliant. Yeah. So I'm definitely feeling it's like all of this whole story today has brought me back down to the key point of I want to be a writer, so why am I overcommitting to everyone else's stuff rather than focusing on my dream, which is the writing, right? That's what kind of came through at the end there. It was like, you're overgiving and yeah, all this, yay, now be the writer. So I feel
You're a writer.
I am a writer. Yes, I am definitely
You
a
know, she
writer.
said earlier, I want to be this prolific writer. She is a writer.
Yes, and that's the right when we're frustrated, when we're feeling stuck, when we're angry, when we're whatever, it can be hard to access that positive resourcing, and that's what I love about EFT is it does get us back to those positive resources if we're willing to stick with it long enough and keep tapping or keep breathing and being and doing even the optimal is new to me, not new to me because I've done it with Meryl for a while now, but it wasn't something I was trained in when I was trained in EFT as a therapist, but it definitely adds this beautiful extra dimension of just being present with what's there in the moment and holding, like stretching our willingness to sit with the comfort and the discomfort, the loving moment and the thing we're clearing, the loving moment and the thing we're clearing. And that creates this ability to flow a little bit more with the discomfort. So I really love it as a technique. Thank you.
Yeah. You're welcome.
So is there anything else from this before we draw some cards for the collective if you're working on your own frustration or overdoing? Trying to think
Well,
if
I'm
there's
curious,
yeah.
like, what are your numbers now? Exhaustion, frustration, and anger, right?
My exhaustion's still there, like on a fundamental level, and that is like my chronic level of burnout from overgiving for forever. So let's be very, very real there. But I
Yeah.
would put that number only at like a 3 right now, whereas I was feeling it at what, like a 6 or a 7 when we started. So there is more of a liberation of my energy now. The frustration, the anger, pretty much gone. Like that's been replaced by the excitement of like, go be a writer, go keep doing,
Yeah.
well, go be the writer you are, right? Like go be the writer you are. That's where you get to put your commitment. My commitment is to
Yeah.
my dream.
And then what about the sadness that you were feeling for your tenure, for yourself 10 years ago?
That feels gone. Like it was very, very interesting because the unseen therapist actually came in with some white paint and like she took the sad part out and put her on a new timeline and was like, go down this path instead. And then she literally painted over the other scene and was like, we don't no, we don't need so the sadness feels like of course there's a intellectual sadness that exists of like of course it's sad that that was a situation I
Right.
existed in, but the current sadness of like, oh gosh, this happened to me is I don't
Right.
feel that
Yes.
in my body.
Yeah. And that's what's really, really important about this work is to test back
Yep.
constantly testing back.
Yeah. I like to poke the bear with questions sometimes, right? Like, do I still feel like this is my fault? Or do I feel like there's something I could have done better or whatever? Like those kinds of judgment things. Cause if they immediately stir up emotions, I'm like, okay, we've got more to do here. But if I'm like, no, that legitimately feels resolved and like a part of my journey and that's okay. Like, then I know that I've gotten to the bottom of clearing it.
Right.
And
And I was just going to say, like, that doesn't mean that the whole year that she felt that way is gone.
right.
The emotional intensities to that are gone. That doesn't mean it. We worked on one piece of it, which is connected to a lot of it, and probably lowered the intensities of a lot of it. But that would still, if this pattern continues to happen, we would probably end up keep going back to that
Yeah.
until we've cleared out whatever is left of that year, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, and so that will be very interesting for me to pay attention to is like what of that energy is still here?
Yeah.
And I love that you brought that up because it was actually about what I was going to say is more or less
Oh,
like it's okay if you clear something like this and it does like a chapter next to it opens up and you're like, "Oh gosh, now I need to go work on this." Like that's very, very normal to have a trickle effect because the more space and capacity that we open up to feel, the more these things come up to be cleared and the more comfortable we can be with that, the better. And that's why you have guides like therapists, coaches, practitioners of EFT, people that can help guide you through that when it gets to be like, "Oh my gosh, I'm unpacking so much. I just need some organization or some help moving through that." So,
Right.
resources exist. I'm going to
Mhm.
grab my cards.
For the deck now?
Yes. I looked up and it just said it wants to be the Divine Masters deck. So, I'm going to grab that. I'm going to pause the recording. All right. So, the Divine Masters are who wanted to come out today. This is a Kyle Gray book. Got the depiction of blue Lemurians, which I have thoughts on as an actual Lemurian, but we won't get into that in this episode. That's another talk series. So I'm just going to go ahead and see who wants to work with the collective. If you are sitting with something similar to this today, you're in your own frustration, you have overcommitted, you're overdoing it, and you are looking for someone to work with, well, this is fun. Kuthumi was the first one to come out here, and he is about the initiation of our gifts. And what I have found to be true is that the overcommitment is often initiation of our gifts. It's like, hey, see how important what you have to offer is. See how much you can handle, right? And now back it down so that you can have the resources left to really give of yourself from the heart, not from outdated metrics, but see the outdated metrics as the initiatory experience. You are allowed to come into your gifts and use them for you. That's what I'm getting there. And then the next one that came out was Mahavatar Babaji, Spiritual Awakening. And what I'm getting with her, so these really go together. I even love the cards themselves have very similar color schemes.
Yeah.
Very, very interesting. And it's a lot of like yellow, gold, brown, because I know you can't quite see the colors on here, but lots of like crowned in gold, outlined in gold, and then this deep amber and brown. These are really speaking to me of the inner riches that we have, the inner riches of our gifts, the inner riches of how the inner workings of ourselves relate to the outer workings of the world, right? So as we are liberating ourselves from overdoing and overworking, we're also changing the system around us in the world. And that's super important. That's what she's really saying is that moving out of this outdated paradigm is bringing us into a spiritual awakening on a collective level where we understand we're all interconnected and that we have an impact on one another when we overdo it. It's not a good one. And I'm feeling one more. Mary Magdalene. She's been coming up for a lot of people in the collective lately, so I love that she popped out here. Sacred vessel, you are the answer. Be guided to your purpose. Your purpose is not to overgive and overdo for everyone else. That's not it. Your purpose is to come into alignment with your soul, your gifts, your heart, and receive the messages of what you are meant to give, right? Speaking of Mary's, Mary Gooden wrote an affirmation book, and one of the affirmations has to do with like show me the way today, what is mine to share, not show me the way to do everything in the world today, but what is mine. And that's what I feel like is coming from this card too, is like you are your answer. Just listen to your higher guidance and be guided to your purpose. So I hope that these helpers will speak to you. You can work with any of them. They are here, these ascended masters, to be worked with. Just like the unseen therapist, you can call one of them in as your unseen therapist and sit with them in that same way, tuning into your loving moment and expanding to receive guidance from these divine masters. So, thank you as always, Meryl, for this. It is a pleasure.
Thank you. Thank you for always being comfortable to be able to do this.
what I'm here for. That is my mission, is to be just shine my light, and may others take from that what they will so they can shine their. So thank
Yes.
you. And again, if you have a topic you'd love to see us tap on and do a session around, please let us know. We would be happy to serve in that way. And of course, you can reach out to either of us if you'd like additional support. So
Yeah.
thank you so much. And until next time.